We've had a pretty eventful last 24 hours here. Obviously, we made a trade last night that landed us Kris Versteeg, and we're really excited about adding a player of this quality. We gave up a fair price, and I think that Stan Bowman drove a hard bargain, but we think this is a player that makes us better immediately. He scored over 20 goals. He can play in every situation on the ice, has good foot speed, and I know he's really excited about joining the Leafs, so we're excited about that. And the other player that came in the trade, the Sweat kid, is a really fast forward, and got explosive speed, and it's the guy that we're excited about too. He is not signed; he's a draft choice, but we talked to him, and he seemed pretty excited about coming on board. So that was last night, and then today we agreed to terms with Colby Armstrong. Colby has not signed yet, which is why a press release has not gone out, but he has agreed to terms. This is a hard-nosed winger that scored over 20 goals in our league. Again, plays in lots of different situations, brings energy. Really excited about joining us. So we're excited about what took place in the last 24 hours. We think we're a better hockey club. We did not move on some of the bigger names. We kept our thumb on the pulse, or finger on the pulse, and we're in and pretty well kept abreast of all the different negotiations and where guys were going and what salary levels we're at, and decided that we're going to wait. So that's where we are. Questions, please.
Break down Versteeg a bit first. Where you see him playing. He can't play all three positions, as Stan Bowman and Kris himself mentioned last night. But ideally, where would you like to see him go?
Well, that'll be up to the coach. He can play either wing. He can play in the middle. We acquired him with an eye toward him playing on the wall, and we'll experiment in training camp, I'm sure, and figure out where the best fit is. I do not see him playing center unless we get banged up, but that'll be up to the coach. Again, what I think Kris Versteeg brings is the ability to play any of the forward positions, but either wing. He's got foot speed. There's pace to his game. I like players with pace. He's got good hockey sense. He's adaptable and versatile. And in my mind, again, he's over 20 goals. Not playing top 6 minutes, and he'll get better minutes with us and better situational ice time. So I think that number can go up.
Thank you.
Hi, Brian. Are you finished now in terms of signing players out of the free agent market?
We're done for today. There are a number of players who did not move today, and in my mind, it's time to sit back and let the dust settle a bit. So we're done for today. The short answer to your question, are we done? I would not say that. We're looking at adding some depth guys. We're looking at doing a couple other things, but nothing that makes sense tonight.
Brian, is Thomas Kaberle's value as a possible trade commodity affected in any way by all of today's dealings, do you think?
Well, I would have to guess that it has increased. It has not reflected itself in any improved offers, but we wouldn't anticipate that. That's probably going to materialize next week. Again, this is not a player we're shopping. We're listening. I told you guys we had 4 offers on him. A 5th team jumped in last night, but it didn't make sense. It's not something that's dead, but it didn't make sense to do last night. And so my guess would be with the defenseman that moved, that Thomas's value has gone up, and we will continue to listen. Again, if the net result of this process is that Thomas Kaberle remains with the Toronto Maple Leafs, that's a result that we're not unhappy with one bit.
Follow-up question, how much better do you see Toronto special teams next fall being with the addition of Versteeg and Armstrong?
Well, our special teams were kind of our Achilles heel. If you go back and look at our performance on the power play and shorthanded, we had good spurts, and certainly our penalty killing improved dramatically after the trades on January 31st. But I think that, from my perspective, these are guys that have played in those situations before with success, and I think it gives the coach a better arsenal in terms of who's on the ice in those situations. So it's certainly something we talked about leading into both of these transactions.
Thank you, Brian.
Hey, Brian. Heading into free agency, obviously you want to bolster the top six forwards. I'm just wondering how you feel about the lineup now, I guess, with the expectation that Nazem Kadri is probably going to fit in there somewhere. And are you happy going into the season with what we presume to be the top six forwards that you have right now?
Well, we're not done. The answer would be that what we tried to do going into the draft and going into July 1st was see if we could upgrade our top six. I think we've done that with Kris Versteeg. The fact that he was not a top six forward with Chicago, with the Stanley Cup winner, very deep. We think he's a top six with us. So that's an upgrade. We think Colby Armstrong is a third-line guy but can go up and play, get in situations in games where people get hurt, or a guy gets in a fight and he's got 5 minutes in the box. This is a guy who can move up and play without really reducing your skill level. This guy can short bursts and short term can play up. But we're not done yet. And the answer to your question is I'd rather answer that question when we get closer to training camp, because we continue to look for upgrades there through trade or, whichever. So it's a fair question. And I'd say, would I be happy going into the season with this group? We may have to, but we're going to continue to try to upgrade.
As a follow-up, is the center ice position, is that a kind of a concern for you?
How so?
Just in terms of the depth that you have up there.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Brian, you said that you had kept abreast of what was going on with some of the other names out there. Is it fair to assume that the prices got too high on those guys, or you just didn't want to pay them what the market value was?
Well, that's. I think I said this a couple days ago, and I apologize. The guys that cover our team all the time, I sound like a broken record. Our group makes more mistakes on July 1st and on the trade deadline than we do the whole rest of the year. In fact, the whole rest of any 2-year period. And there's a notion that on July 1st you must do something. You must take steps to improve your team. And I think we did that, but that's not why we did it. It's a situation with Colby where we were prepared to pay this much for this many years. And if Colby had said that's not good enough, then we would have said, okay, we're going to sit tight. We were perfectly content to sit tight. I told Dave Nonis before we started today that I felt we'd get shut out on any major move. And I considered Colby a major move. I was happy that we were able to do that. But, you can always sign guys if you give enough term and pay enough money. That doesn't mean it's a sensible signing. So I think the key on July 1st is to keep your positional needs in mind, keep your cap space in mind, keep your budget in mind, and add